Hey folks, just a friendly reminder that all shows on the Madness Comic Network are produced by their individual hosts and in no way reflect the opinions of the network as a whole. The statements in the following broadcast are not necessarily the opinions of the Madness Comic Network, its staff, sponsors, or contributors. This show is rated TVMA, as are all of them and all those other letters. Viewer discretion is highly advised, and, just do what Doc says. Read that again. Peace, everybody.
Who am I, you ask? I was created in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by the waste of a dying world. I was bestowed with an insurmountable task: bring peace after decades of death, persecution, and chaos. I am a grandchild of war, destined to help two camps which hate has fueled for far too long. Surprisingly, I am not alone. Have an odd bunch to make the road a little more bearable. Come with me to bring hope where there was despair, respect where there was resentment, creativity where there was destruction. I am Pinocchio, and this is my story.
Flip City Magazine is just really pulling out all the stops, man. Your guys' production value of this magazine has gone insane. I mean, look at that. I mean, I remember when you guys, it was black and white. Even when it was black and white, I thought your quality was great. But damn, they just really stepping it up a notch. Look at this. James Corbett, boys. James Corbett.
Genuinely cutting. But also funny, and obviously just chaotic and very fun.
I love Flip City. It has brought new types of badassery and integrity to the print medium.
The writer and creator of numerous comic books and graphic novels, including Nightmare World, Tales of Mystery, Brave But Not Dead, all kinds of stuff. And I am super excited for you because you are getting to watch right now, right this moment, out of all the things we're going to be doing, you're getting to enjoy and revel in the Madness Comic Network. And that is awesome. Thank you for being here.
Hello. We're currently waiting for Les and another guest. I don't know what happened to poor Les. But
Yeah, I've gotten no messages from him. I don't know what's going on.
He's okay.
No.
He's very busy and things
No,
like that.
well, your friend is here, so I
Right.
guess you don't need me.
Well, this will be fun. No, it'll be good to have you on because this guy's a voice actor. He's known as Internet Skeletor, Isaac Wells. And he's also developing his own new property, which is quite amazing. You know, so it's a lot of fun. You know, I'll check in to see what's going on. My gosh, look at him, that amazing Mr. Wells with the
hello
isomorphic background. Is that like your secret bunker hidden in a alternate universe?
Always.
You know, his audio is going to be so much better than both of ours because unlike us, Isaac Wells is a real voice actor, which is quite amazing. He knows how to read scripts, unlike me, and he can put tones, inflections, and quite a few amazing things on it. What I'd like to do is, first off, introduce yourself, Mr. Wells. Tell us a little bit about yourself and, you know, how did you become an amazing voice actor and some of the things that you've worked on?
Well, my name is Isaac Wells, and I have, you know, been doing voices for a while. Just kind of just went with it, you know, found out I could do it one day. Started doing YouTube things back in the late 2000s, and never really got anywhere big. But I realized I really liked acting and I could do it naturally, and developed, you know, the skill to do it, and then went after audition lists and all that stuff, and just kind of trickled down from there, you know, networking, knowing people, and, you know, reaching out to people myself in the beginning and all that stuff.
Wow. That's quite impressive. What was your first thing of wanting to do this? It's like, I can do this, or how did it come about?
Well, like I said, I was doing YouTube videos, like live with my friends. And it was a really piece of crap camcorder, and
you're live.
I would be the. Excuse me.
Thank you, sir.
He's on the phone. Go ahead, keep talking.
Yeah, keep talking. I found Les.
Sorry. So, yeah, I would do these really stupid YouTube things, mostly making fun of video games because that's what we were in. And I started having to act as the characters because nobody else wanted to be on camera, and I felt really comfortable being on camera because, you know, hey, look, all attention on me. And so when I did it, people really liked it, and we put the YouTube videos out. They never got big, but there was a game developer, like an indie game developer. He was making like a Flash animation, just a really simple game on a website called Newgrounds. And he was like, hey, I liked that one skit. I saw that one skit of you doing a parody of the character Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid. And he was like, can you do something similar to that for my game? And I was like, sure. And then he knew one other person doing another game, and they knew another person. And so it just kind of went and networked. And I was always very easy to work with, and, you know, willing to listen and stuff like that. So it's really about professionalism and networking.
The voice you just did, or you're talking about, can you imitate that still?
The Solid Snake voice?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I eventually did it for an audiobook that was in Japan, and it was okayed by Hideo Kojima, who is the guy who made the game.
Wow.
And he was like,
that's amazing.
But yeah, it's like this rumbly voice, like this. This is how he sounds when he talks, So it was really, and I got to work with, I was playing the main character, and I got to work with some of the people who were kind of icons for me growing up.
Wow. Let me interrupt real quick. Since Les is here, you won't need me because less is more. All right?
Yes.
Less is more. All right.
Right. And because of the size of his head, it's less is more head, and that's where he's from.
I wanted to introduce myself to Isaac. I'm the founder of the Madness Comic Network. We're YouTube, we're Facebook, we're everywhere. We have a lot of people that do audio books that look for voiceover people to work for them. So if you would join the Madness Comic Network on Facebook and YouTube, you may find some people interested in putting you to work, brother, because that's what we do.
And get some nickels and dimes.
That's what we do. We try to help people make money around here because, ain't a whole lot of that going on. So.
Even though Isaac seems, super serious, he's also highly hysterical.
Well, I wanted to hear Skeletor before I leave.
Wait, you decided to listen to Skeletor? Oh no! Look at his eyes. All bets are off.
The high pitched. What is he? The enemy of the internet, Skeletor.
Your time is up, He-Man.
Your time is up, He-Man. Curse you.
Yeah, that's the guy I want. All right, it's great meeting you. I hope to see you active in the group, and maybe we can do some collabs here in the future. Because like I said, a lot of people do voice work in the Madness. They make trailers, they do audio books. It's all comic and graphic novel people, and your services would be wonderful.
What's called again?
The Madness Comic Network. Facebook and YouTube.
Hi, Les.
I have joined.
Yay!
All right. I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Peace.
Isaac, and this is fun with having you on, Pops. But Isaac, what was one of the more you did the Internet Skeletor, which is a parody, of course. What was the inspiration for that? And where has it brought you, and where has it brought you to today?
Well, I started it because I was trying to figure out how to get a couple of things. I was wondering if I could do the voice, and then another thing was like, I wonder if I could do something that's comedic for the internet. And the internet at the time, especially when TikTok was, becoming what TikTok is, was just like, I was like, I wonder if I can get followers on there. So I said, I had a joke, and I said the joke is Skeletor. I took the old animation, just his jaw moving up and down, the simplest thing, and then I just put the voice to there. But it took like years of my professionalism of a voice actor to actually get all the the inflections and everything right. And when I was doing it, I was specifically trying to go after Alan Oppenheimer, which is what most people grew up with.
Right.
So I was like, well, I want to put it out. So I took some of the animation, I took all that, and I put it together, and I put a joke together, like as if Skeletor was a troll. And then I just said, okay, that's it. And then it just started connecting with people,
What was the first joke that Skeletor did? Internet Skeletor.
I think the first one was him going, remember, you can't spell advertisements without semen between the tits. until we meet again. You know, so that one, you know, because it was a wordplay. It was wordplay.
Right.
Got it. And then after a while, I sort of reinvented the entire character, becoming this character that, you know, nobody else had done this kind of thing I was doing, taking an 80s character and, you know, basically becoming an internet personality. And, you know, I've had multiple people at conventions come up to me and be like, you basically reinvented this character for the new generation. And I thought that was really cool. Like, I was like, that's very honored to be about, because I didn't just go with like the same old idea. I was just like, I want to do something that I haven't seen somebody do before. And that was it.
Seems like now there's a lot of stuff popping up that's like, once they saw the idea, they're like, oh, I could do that with this one over here. I could do this with this other character over here.
Yeah.
And some of it is stupidly funny. I've been passing off to Charles all these little reels that I keep running across that somebody is doing this really wild crap with the Scooby Gang. and they've got Fred with the ascot. Like it sounds like his voice, but the content of what he's saying is always
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Pervy gangster shit.
Those are computer though. You know, when you've dealt with audio and you understand editing, things like that, you've dealt with directing, you've dealt with acting, you live with actors, you work with actors, you start to develop an ear for the artificial inflection. And it's quite interesting where it's gotten good, but you can still like, oh, okay.
I'm just commenting on the humor because the stuff is that stuff.
Yeah, the humor. I've seen those videos you're talking about, and it's like they're taking. It's like doing fan dubbing, but making it ridiculously like rude and raunchy. Because that's what. I know the guy who did that. He makes a bunch of different stuff. And it was just, oh man, I was like, man, that's funny because it's like not what I'm doing. It's different enough to have taken like the old cartoon, but doing their own different thing. And it's basically about how, Fred is basically this really perverted dude, and Velma's getting shit on for not being as sexy as Daphne, and Daphne's like telling her like,
there's
one
that
thing open, She was just like,
there's one that I just can't get out of my head.
Oh no!
There was a picture of her just bending over, and then Fred's just like, "God damn!" And then
I always get the two. I'm not a big Scooby Doo person, so I always get the two chicks mixed up. There's one that I love where Fred is like telling her to stuff your panties in her mouth. What? And the other chick's like, "Yeah, go ahead, do it." And she's like, "Why the hell would you want me to do that?" She's like, "Because it's dead ass sexy."
It says dead ass sexy. Now feed me them draws, And I was just like, what the hell, man? It's so raunchy coming from those characters, but that's I think the difference. Like you take
it's terrible.
A wholesome cartoon, which is kind of what I did with He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. They are basically a kid's wholesome-ish cartoon,
right?
And I just made Skeletor start ripping apart humanity in a lot of different ways. Like, Skeletor makes fun of everybody and everything, like religion, people, politics. He makes fun of humanity as a whole. Now, those people are taking Scooby-Doo and making Fred and the gang just real perverts. You know what I'm saying?
Aberrant.
Yeah.
And
I love how Shaggy's always the cameraman.
Well, yeah, it's like, you could take the idea, and if you say, I'm going to make this different than any other social media influencer has. Like, for instance, I always thought it would be kind of funny to do a fan dub from the 60s Spider-Man cartoon.
Good.
And just make little short mini episodes out of the animation, but just add different, comedy jokes into it,
Pardon me for 1 second.
Like he sneezes and there's web everywhere.
From the door of the shop. Eisenberg, what are you doing?
Wow.
Here, buddy. Come on.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Now, when I wonder where Les went, but that's okay. So how do you approach like a script? Do you just like put it on a little tablet? I mean, like a stand, get a printout as a stand, or you hold it, or you read it, or how do you go about with reading the script? I know I sound very naive about it, but I don't know how this works. So,
well, I mean, you have a little bit more insight than most people with my setup, because Charles has very much been to my studio. However, when I first get a script, I just kind of like look it over either on my phone or on my iPad, and then I go into my studio and then put it on my front display, which is right in front of my microphone, so I can be there while I'm standing up and everything. But then I just I just read it as if the character, if I was the character, obviously, the years of it has gone into becoming an actor. So I just go from there and, basically try to do the stuff that made me an actor, channel the stuff, try to get the emotions, try to get the realistic, like what would happen, reactionary sounds that certain things would be and everything like that. It's just, I just go into the acting mode.
that's so cool. Because sometimes you see these videos of, people in a studio and they got a paper script next to them and they're just slowly flipping through it and they're reading it and things like that. And I just find it interesting how, now there's new technologies that can really help, newbies or the proletariat figure out how to do this, which can be very useful for all different applications, ranging from, professional voice acting like what you do, or, I need to make a business video to share with the staff at my XYZ company. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that you seem pretty savvy with computer stuff. Can you talk a little bit about your past when it came to like internet and web building and things like that?
Well, I was always like a really geek nerd person. Never really had a lot of friends growing up, especially because I spent most of my life in the hospital. However,
oh my gosh.
So I built computers. Mom was a mortgage broker, so she had to work with computers. So I took her leftover computers and just started combining them together, and it's just different kind of stuff. And then, I was just like, well, I just really like computers and the way they were. So I started learning about all the programming, motherboards, and all that stuff. And then it took me into the web, which, at the time, I think MySpace was big at the time. When I was getting
What's
into
that? What's that?
Yeah. I remember MySpace. It was so old.
Yes. MySpace is so old that even dinosaurs don't know what it is.
But it's funny. MySpace was like the Facebook before Facebook. But the difference is MySpace allowed you to design your own profile using HTML. So I took the chance to learn it through MySpace because it was like basically a testing ground for design.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay, so I learned the HTML language and a little bit of that. And I think JavaScript was big at the time, so I kind of learned that. And then, Facebook eventually became the thing to do. And so I just went on to like my own websites because I was doing a YouTube channel where I really wanted my presence as a having a website means you're professional. That's basically what I thought. And unfortunately, like now, even the internet has changed where you don't even need a website for any professionalism. You can just have a Facebook and an Instagram and a Snapchat and a few others that are already taken care of for you. But I still liked designing my websites and it was just kind of therapeutic. Like I just kind of like working with code.
Oh, that's cool.
And then took me to acting and voice acting, and then I realized, I had to learn a lot about audio, which from the technical side is not really hard to me, because I was like, I already learned computers, so the input and and all that stuff for microphones is easy now, but it's still very hard to learn from knowing nothing. And it took me a while, but I was like, okay, well, I think this is where I'm at, and I eventually did the audio. And while I was doing film, I learned editing and audio editing. So I did all the stuff that I had learned, and I just basically packaged it where like I can do my own demo, and I can do my own voices, and I can send them out and edit them correctly and everything like that. So it was weird because I basically learned all of it through a big time span, but then I got to use all of it later,
Now, you mentioned briefly you were in the hospital. Would you be comfortable talking about that, or would you like to go into something different?
No, I mean, I was born with a congenital heart defect, and it caused me to have a number of problems that were very unique to my situation. There's only been a couple of dozen people, or about that many, like maybe a dozen or so people that have had the combination of what I had happen to them. And as far as I know, I'm, very much one of the only people living with what I have.
Wow.
The combination of stuff I have. People can have stuff without having the other stuff I have. Like, you can have one or two of the things, but Isaac has like 14 of those things, so... and I was like, okay, but anyway, it led me to eventually have 5 heart attacks, 5 strokes, about a dozen open heart surgeries. I developed cataracts. When I was 16, they killed the muscle in my leg, so I had to go through muscle death. But when I was in the surgery before that, they put me into a coma, or I accidentally went to a coma for a couple of weeks, and then my muscle was dying. When I woke up, it was dying. So I was in like excruciating pain.
Wow.
Then I had just like when I was 16, my vein to my heart, a tube from my heart to lungs and stuff, mutated, which caused me to throw up parts of my stomach lining and blood and all that stuff. So it was pretty dramatic.
Wow.
Traumatic.
No wonder you have a very good disposition and you enjoy humor.
Well, it's if you're lucky enough to be here, you're going to enjoy everything you can.
Agreed. Now, what I think is really cool is not only do you do voice acting, not only have you survived the odds, not only are you like a supercar being a 5-stroke engine, figuratively, what passion projects are you working on right now, if you're allowed to talk about it?
Well, I'm working on...
I'll kick it back to you.
Yeah. I am working on a superhero project that I'm working with a number of people on. And it's a very what do you call that? We are inspired by other things, so we just kind of wrote a lot of our characters and our world, in a, like it's like you can see where we got the inspiration, but it's different. It's stuff we haven't seen, but mixed with stuff that we did love. And it is called Kickback Heroes. It is an ensemble of different characters. We follow different stories and stuff like that, but it's all superheroes. And
nice.
We write them in very specific ways, kind of like how, like when Kevin Smith, he said he wrote his characters like he writes his friends, like he wrote his friends into the movie as characters. And that's kind of
wow.
what we did. You know, we took the characters that we wrote. We were like, okay, these are actually our friends. I know that they're superheroes, but these are people that we've run into and that we know in life. So we thought it would be kind of
I'm
fun.
going to be bouncing in and out for a second. I got some stuff going on.
Oh, that's okay.
Go ahead.
But yeah, we had we basically said we're going to, even though they're superheroes, we want them to still be like people, not like, you know, superhero people, because those seem to be written a lot differently. And I was just like, well, I want them to basically be based of all of our friends.
That's amazing.
So
yeah, I'm trying to pull up an image of you know, you can also share the screen too if you want, Isaac. So
oh yeah, well they can whoever's watching or whatever, they're gonna probably be able to see what's on my profile. We're gonna do Kickback Heroes, but we're gonna be releasing stuff at the end of the month.
That's so cool.
Pretty happy for that.
Isaac, can I get you to drop any links that you want to share into the private chat, and I can put them in the main chat, and they go everywhere?
Oh, yeah, mine's the only one that I really
just drop them over there. I'll just share them. You know, doesn't matter which ones or where they go, or just the ones you want people to have. You know.
Like the link to Kickback Heroes. Does everybody see this?
What?
There we go. Is that okay to show?
I mean, it is now. I guess we're live.
Sorry.
No, yeah, that's a character I play and everything. But you can basically the only chat that I really would anybody would care about is probably just my account. But there's also Instagram.com/kickbackheroes. That's about it. So you know, we've already we're going to be releasing it as an online thing, so everybody can watch it for free. Just watch some of the skits and stuff for free. But also, it's like we want to be able to, you know, obviously have it, you know, make money and stuff like that. In like hey, we have to take care of this project, or they should, or we should, like, you know what I'm saying, like have it be self-funding. So we're going to do the internet approach, which we haven't really done. Like I've done it for myself with doing Sketchboard. So hopefully we get it done right. But it's also like we really want people to connect with the characters and enjoy them, you know, and we don't, you know, we don't want somebody who has to really get into a superhero film to necessarily have to get into our things. We just want them to just, hey, these are cool characters. I like them. I can get in, I can get out. And then we'll go from there.
Wow. Are you able to talk about any of the adventures that you're planning, or is that too early?
I think it'd be better if I didn't, because I don't, stuff always changes. So
you don't want to give things
I
away.
would. Yeah, I was like, oh, this is a cool story, but I don't know if it's actually going to like be the same story by the time we release it.
Got it.
I always, my take on those kind of things is always hold that stuff close to the chest until you're about to release it.
Until it comes out, you know.
Oh yeah.
That is. Now, Isaac, do you have questions for us? Les, being an amazing artist and also a fellow stroke survivor.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, you know, I didn't know what it was like. What, you know, like, what happened in your stroke? Like, did your mind go messed up, or did you just, you know?
I felt really sleepy. Thought it was something else and made the biggest damn mistake you can make with a stroke. Because I went to take a nap because I thought it was something else. When I woke up, I had 2 strokes by that point, and the left side of my body was gradually shutting down. And by the time I was admitted into the hospital that evening, the entire left side of my body was completely shut down.
Damn.
That sucked. That sucked a lot. That you know, I'm not gonna. I can be a little glib about it sometime, but yeah, it sucked like nothing I've ever experienced. So, and I'm still, 16, 17 months now out from having it happen. Still don't have full function of my left arm back yet. I mean, I've got way more than, like the day after I was admitted, the doctor comes in and tells me, he's like, you're never going to walk again, and your left arm is done, and all that kind of stuff. And I've put, I told him where he could stick it, and that I'd be walking out of that hospital in a week. And, it's just been a year of, well, it's actually part of why I was late getting in here this morning, because it's right now I have new things activating. I have been with new OT and PT people for a few weeks now. And it's just, it's very strange. If I were to stop working to get it back, I know what life would look like. I know I would have a different energy level. And from a compensatory place, I would be able to compensate with things, and life would get the kind of new normal that they all were like, oh, this is what it's going to be, all this stuff. But that's not good enough. And I refuse to settle for it. So I'm putting in ridiculous amounts of work to do the neural rehab, the reconnecting of everything in my brain. I mean, there are ways that you can do that. And it is the amount, it is exhausting work.
Yeah.
And it's work that it literally is work that never stops. If I'm awake doing whatever I'm doing, at the same time, I'm thinking about what that left side is doing and forcing it to find something to be doing. Even if it's just like right now, I will sit here and I will have my left hand gripping the side of the platform that my monitors sit on, right? And I'm consciously doing that the entire time I'm doing anything else. So it's literally the conscious rebuilding of the connections from my arm to my brain. So it blows.
Now in
some days I'm better than others, and this morning I was just freaking exhausted. The last few days have been
with intense training. In your case, Isaac, Les had a like a double barrel shotgun at the same time, and you've had 5 over a time. And were they always correlated with the heart attacks? Because she's had 5 and 5. Or would you have a heart attack and then later have a stroke, or you have a stroke?
Yeah. Basically, the heart attacks were random.
And I can't tell that there's anything strange about you.
Yeah, actually, most people say that when they meet me. I was this weekend. I was hanging out with Kurt Angle, which was from WWF, I think, TNA, and wrestler and Olympian, and we were actually talking about that because he had broken his neck 4 times.
Broken it?
Yeah, he actually won one of the Olympics with a broken neck or something like that. But he, we were talking about that because we got to trade battle scars, basically. And every situation is different. And so, like in my situation, I went, well, what happened was I had 5 heart attacks and I had 5 strokes, but they weren't correlated by each other. I had different heart attacks with like in 3 in youth, and then 2 when I was older, and then 5 strokes that were happening in between in different random times. It didn't necessarily have anything to do with my heart. The last stroke I actually had, they did find something wrong with my heart because of my stroke. So the silver lining was that last stroke actually did let them find something that was like a fistula or something growing on my heart, and they said that would have been bad if we didn't know about it. So the silver lining is I had a stroke that could have killed me, but instead it kind of helped me save my life. So I thought that was nice. That that was a thing. But yeah, it did not correlate with each other. They just happened randomly. I think 2 or something might have been in the hospital when I had them, so it was lucky for that one too.
Oh yeah, they could jump on you right away.
Yeah.
Now the other thing I've noticed, being a former animator, Leslie's walk cycle, because of the stroke, the left side paralyzation, has been coming back. It's becoming much stronger. It's almost level and normal. And I can imagine Les starting to jog soon. I've noticed your walk cycle is extremely efficient, that there's not a lag or a drag. Now, you said that you've had muscle death. How did you recover from dead tissue and dealing with necrotization and all that? I'm sorry to get so dark.
No, it's fine. When I lost the muscle, they basically were going up through an artery in my leg. I was in Rochester, Minnesota, in the Mayo Clinic, and they had gone up through an artery in my leg to my heart, and they had blocked the blood flow off for more than 8 hours. They didn't know that they did that.
Jesus. Wait, they didn't know?
They didn't know. So
that's why I practice.
But with that, the muscle died because lack of blood flow will just kill the muscle. It will die. It was probably the worst pain I could literally ever imagine. It's on the top of like medical journals as like some of the top pain that you can go through in the body. They can't give you anything for it. They can't give you morphine. They can't give nothing. Nothing will stop the pain. And it is nightmarish pain. But while they were going through, they blocked it and killed it. And so after going through the whole muscle death and everything, they said that I had a couple of options. They were actually leaning towards amputating my foot because they were afraid that, like you said, it would, the muscle would, necrotize or something like that inside, because it's an inside muscle, right? It's the oh shoot, I forgot the name, but it's the calf muscle. It's the inside calf muscle. So the thing that makes your foot go like this, I can't do that on that foot.
Tibialis.
Yeah,
I'm struggling with the tibialis on my left leg right now.
Yeah. So now it left me with a thing called, I don't know if you have it, but it left me with a thing called drop foot syndrome.
Yep.
And so basically,
I've been fighting with that the whole damn time.
Yeah. So basically, while it was still hurting, I told my mom I did not want them to cut off my foot. I just didn't. To be fair, I was a 16-year-old that thought, what I'm saying, like, oh, you can't do that because I still have pain in it randomly. Now, if they cut off the foot, I would not have pain, but then I wouldn't have a foot. I could walk and still do everything almost just as fine with an artificial leg. I've seen, Olympians do that, or athletes can do that. But for some reason, I didn't want them to cut off the foot. So they said,
for some reason, you didn't want them to cut off the foot. I love that answer.
Yeah. But, even the doctor came in and it was just like, look, you can live a full life. You do everything with your thing, blah, blah, blah. It's just a foot. Don't let it put you in pain.
It's just a foot.
It's just your foot. It's not like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just your bottom of your feet, which in terms of amputation really ain't that bad. I mean, if you look at it, you know what I'm saying? Because you can do a lot more. And with pants and stuff, you can blend and you'll just look like maybe you have a limp sometimes, but that's about it, But I know people who have prosthetic feet that unless they showed me, I wouldn't even be able to know. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So the options were like, it wasn't a terrible, terrible option, but that freaked me out when I was a kid. And the doctor was just like, hey, you'll be blah, blah, blah. And I was like, look, I don't want you to cut off my foot. And then, the doctor was just like, well, what's the reasoning? Because, everybody wants to know, like, what's the reasoning? Just a curious human thing. And I was just like, because my mom gave it to me, so. Anyway, so I had to, she had to take my foot and actually move the foot back and forth, like my leg, you know, and muscle strength it while it was still in the end phase of being painful from dying. So it fucking hurt. Sorry for the language, but it
You're good.
really,
You can swear in this channel. You could say muck you, you mucking muck, go muck off. What the muck?
but it really, really hurt so bad. But I was like, look, if we're gonna do this, I want to make sure that we do this right. And so I walked with a walker for about a year. They said I would, yeah, they said I would be in the walker for about 3 years. But it was a year until I got rid of it. But I started learning like about 3 to 6 months into the process. I started walking a little bit without it, and then using it as a, you know, every once in a while, so I could actually I could train myself to walk again. And so after, they even had me in I don't know if they had the same thing with you, Les, but they even casted me a brace for my foot. But
they tried to put me in one, and I hated, like, I was like, I asked him, I was like, you know, is my leg mechanically capable? They're like, yeah, it's mechanically capable. It was, you know, for me, it was a neurological injury. It was just cut off from my brain. I'm like, so what you're telling me is it can work. It's just not getting the signals. I was like, so no, we're not strapping it up. We're not throwing a thing on it. No, we're going a different route.
yeah.
So basically, Les, you refuse to strap on.
You could put it that way.
How dare you, sir? Good talk. But they put a brace on me. It was a few months. They casted it. They did everything like that. It's just the brace, in a weird way, it made it worse for me to walk.
Really?
Because it was so stiff and rigid that when I was walking, instead of walking with like a little slight limp, I would walk with like a, you know, like a.
Oh, you're having to use your hip.
And it was so like it was so thick and ridged like that like my foot would like have to go like that off. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was, it was very noticeable. And
you were probably having to swing your hip to get your foot to clear the ground.
Yeah, so I had to. I was like, look, I don't want to do this forever. I don't like this brace.
Yeah.
I think they even gave me one where it did bend almost a little bit, but it's just that wasn't working for me. I didn't like that.
So when you told them no to the brace before you said no, did you say, okay, everybody, now brace for it?
That would have been a funny joke at the time, but no, I basically, they gave me the brace, and after a few months I was like, I don't want to do this, and then I just put it in the corner and started learning to walk by myself normally and all that stuff. And now I'm to the point where, unless you're really like a foot doctor or somebody who works, you won't be able to tell that I walk different. Like when I walked into the doctor about, the foot doctor, he was just like, you have drop foot syndrome in your left foot, don't you? And I was like, yeah. So he studied that, obviously, but everybody else would never know.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't want to be doing nothing. I want to be doing everything I can while I'm still here. And stuff, even mundane stuff, I was really excited to be able to do. Like mow the yard. I was really excited to be able to do that.
Dude, I can so relate to that. Like being able to pick up different like normal things is actually like you appreciate it.
Yeah, you don't take it. People unknowingly take it for granted. I'm not saying everybody else is like, oh, you don't know, but that's just how human beings are. We don't have to naturally have to, have this natural ability to do all these different things. And when you can't do them, and then later on when you can do them, you're like, oh man, I'm so happy I can do that stupid little chore. There's
a funny thing about that for me is like right now I have more movement in my fingers. I'm getting more movement, things back in my fingers, my hand. And so like the other day I was able, because I do some 3D printing in here, And I was just messing around, just trying some stuff. So I managed to go through the whole process of setting up a machine, getting a print done, pulling it off the supports, doing all that. And this was a miniature. This is a small little thing. It was a very fine process. The fact that I succeeded in getting these things off the supports was just
It's heroic for you.
It's like, the funny thing though is like, I feel like everybody around me, everybody who's close to me, which, 9 times out of 10 is just, my girl Janice. She's got to get sick of hearing it. Like, hey, honey, check this out. I opened this bag, and then it comes. Like, I'm excited, and it comes out, and then as it comes out, I'm like, God, that's so lame.
But at the same time, I almost think of like infant thinking. Like, you're an
That's what makes it lame.
Yeah, but
grown ass man. Why am I happy about opening a fucking bag?
Because I've known stroke victims who are like, la di da, okay, doctor, I'll just sit in the chair right away and don't.
I know who you're talking about.
Well, when you a lot of people, and I've had this happen recently. A lot of people, other people tend to, when you have a stroke or something like that, where it really affects the changes of your life, they tend to it tends to break their spirit, and I guess I was just too stubborn for that to be a thing, and I was just like, no, I'm not gonna let it limit me. Like, of course it does limit me and everything, but I'm not gonna let it limit me on what I want to do. And I've had to go to the hospitals. I go to a couple of hospitals recently and talk to patients that are younger patients that have some of my problems, my congenital heart defects and stuff. And even the doctor was just like, hey, can you come talk to a few of these people? They just basically won't listen. It's kind of like they're giving up, and because they don't feel like there's a future. And I was just like, I was born in the 80s when this thing just killed everyone else. And this, combination of stuff, because, even medical technology is slow, but also fast. So I was like, I'm here. I met with a little kid. He was probably about 9 years old, but I was like, I'm here, right? I'm doing what I like. I can do all these voices. I make everybody laugh around me. I do have to take like 6 pills a day. A lot of times I'm in pain. I'm very limited what I can do, but I'm literally doing what I want to do, and I'm happy to be here. And I can be here and make connections with other people and do all this stuff and entertain. You should do what you want to do. I know there was one guy who had a heart defect. He was like in his 20s, late 20s, maybe mid 20s, and he wanted to do cars. Like he liked cars, so he liked doing engine work on cars and stuff like that. But I was just like, man, if that's what you like doing, there's nothing saying you can do it. You are still physically alive right now. You should go and do that. Take care of your body to take care of your passions. You know what I'm saying? So like, you take care of your body and you do everything the doctors say, especially in our condition. A lot of people have like, oh, I'm not going to listen to what the doctors say. I know better. That's bull. Okay, nobody knows better than people who have went to this for the most part, and especially in our conditions. That know how to keep you alive. And so you listen to them, you do what you're supposed to do, you eat right, you try to exercise, you have to do whatever, but then that will lead to you being able to do what you want to do. Like if it's fixing cars or like taking them apart and learning about them, do that. You can totally do that. The thing is, you shouldn't just say my life is over, because if I did that, I would have just died from giving up.
You would have died years ago. And instead, you've given so much to us. Now, speaking of giving, there's always a bit of taking. Now, what if a Disney character was a mob enforcer and we'd owed money? How would that sound?
Oh, God. He's trying to get you to do Goofy.
Yeah.
Probably because he knows I will laugh until I shit myself.
Oh, the pimp Goofy thing?
Oh, yeah. It's my pimping hand, bitch.
Well, that's my pimp hand. You know, like, I'm getting my smacking hand ready. Like,
why, Goofy? Why?
because I want my money.
but Les can pay you later.
I totally want to like do a thing now that's like a crossover with like Pimp Goofy hooking up with Velma from that dude's. You know,
that would be pretty funny.
That would be hilarious.
That basically Velma is the moneymaker for Goofy.
I just see it being like how long you been hanging with these hippies and not paying up?
Yeah. You're hanging with all these hippies. You could have been paying me for a gangbang. Where's my money?
Hey, you got cameraman Shaggy over there. You know, he's got all the evidence. Like, you know, there's like a whole storyline you can come up with out of that.
He would just have like a lot of interesting puns.
We do a parody
like,
comic book.
He would be like, seriously, he'd be having all the puns. He'd be like, call me Prodigy, because I'm about to smack a bitch up. You know, like,
God. Woo, that's going back a minute. Oh my God.
Oh.
You know, it's just funny as you know, it's just funny to do voices that don't go with each other, basically.
Yeah.
Wait, how would Goofy argue with Skeletor? How would the two deal with each other?
I don't know which Goofy, I guess.
Like Goofy has to collect money from Skeletor because Skeletor hasn't paid for some of the equipment to go after He-Man.
Can you imagine that though? Like,
Goofy going after Skeletor because he ain't paid for how many times he's been tapping Evil in.
Yeah. Hey, Skeletor, I have a problem with you. Like, well, I have a problem with you. Like, well, don't make me take this to the next level. I've already brought it.
Oh, shit.
Oh, my God.
That's too good.
You'll need an adult because I've already destroyed this short dog.
Oh my God, that's terrible. And my sense of humor is just so completely wrong.
It is.
The thing is, like, as I try to be respectful with everything when I do Skeletor, to every thing of people, but also I'm a millennial, so like dark humor is the only way we can survive.
Right.
Like, you know, it's just like I was even talking about. I was like, I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
Millennials and Gen Zs have gone through so many historic events that nobody can say you don't know what it's like, because we're like, yes, we do. We do, like
right.
times two.
Right.
I mean, we just had another political history in the making. This will be down in history, like with it goes in the annals of like Abraham Lincoln, JFK, Reagan. You know, so like without discussing too much about it, the point is that is a historic event, and historic events happen in millennial and Gen Z's lives like all the time. So it's like we're so numb to these like historic things. We would have grown up being like, oh my God, what was it like? But then like when we're like, yeah, we know what it's like. It literally happens.
Well, if you think about it, there's a major saturation of information, you know, which we didn't have growing up. I mean, with the internet, that's changed it all. Real quick question, and then we're probably going to have to wrap it up. Talk about conventions, and what conventions are you going to? What's your convention schedule, and what do you love about them?
Shoot, I'm going to. So far on the list, I have a booking agent right now. He just, he just got me. Basically, you have to go to bookisaacwells@gmail.com, and then people can invite me to conventions. I'm working on a couple more, but right now I'm going to Effing Con, which is a small con here in Illinois. I don't exactly know what the location was. I think, do you know where it was, Charles?
Evanville?
Effing Con?
Oh, Effing Con! That's in Effingham, Illinois.
Yeah, that's Effingham, Illinois.
Yeah, which is off of Route 70, Route 57, 3 miles south.
and then Midwest Toy and Comic Fest, which is later on this year. Those are the only two I have confirmed. Now, there are probably going to be more between that, but I have to wait for my convention agent to.
Right. Because I met you in all places, South Carolina, which was awesome at the shark thing or Grand Strand.
Grand Strand Comic. That was years ago. Grand Strand Comic.
Yeah, that was a great con.
I had a good time. They treated guests very well. I would go back if they ever asked me. I would, because it was fun. And I did not. I didn't do the Skeletor thing back then. But if they wanted me to, I would always say yes. Because any convention, even if they're small, said that they would work with me and want me to be there. I will 100% always be there.
Yeah.
Because the people who do this are doing it for fans, and you want to meet those fans and stuff like that. And I just did one this Sunday, so 3 days ago, and then the last week in Iowa I was there at what was it called?
Planet Funk.
Yeah, Planet Funk Con, and I had a lot of fun. A lot of people liked meeting, and it's always nice to have somebody say, they really enjoyed what I was doing and everything like that.
Well, I'm just very, very impressed, honored that you've taken the time out of your incredibly busy schedule to be here. I know that you got family, work, life, and, for our small little show, for you to take the time, it means so much to us. Any final thoughts or words you'd like to pass on to our guest, Mr. Garner?
Not particularly. Isaac's super cool dude. It was fun hanging out with him up in Chicago a while back, and it's probably one of the few positives I take from any time I'm in that unholy hellhole of a city.
Yes.
Yeah.
He hates Chicago. He hates any.
It's a very busy city.
Yeah.
It's entirely too crowded.
But soon Isaac will be there for scouting for his new property that he's developed, his IP, and I'm looking forward to helping him, posting him, and
and I've gotten great reviews from test people who like those people you show like the thing to first and see their opinions. Focus group, that's what it is. I did just some focus groups, and people really seem to be like, okay, I want to know more about this. So I'm really happy that especially if it gets a lot of fans, that people would love something that I kind of made up.
Which that's.
I didn't make it up alone. Like, that's the thing is most people say, oh, I'm going to do Bob Kane and say I made it up alone and completely lie. But I did not do that. I did not do it alone. I had a group help me. And that was, if somebody says I did this 100% alone, I'll show you somebody who's full of crap.
Wow. Well, Les did his own comic book alone.
Yeah, almost everything I do.
You can't do it with literally no other sources of inspiration. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, there's influences.
Oh, right.
But yeah, when it comes time to like put pen to paper and actually start making a thing, 9 times out of 10 I work pretty much. If I'm not alone, I have to really struggle to be able to look back and go, okay, who was involved in this? Was there somebody? Because most of the time there isn't.
Yeah, I get that.
So,
but to me, I'm like, I didn't do this alone. I had like 2 or 3 people. It was fun,
That would be cool. I typically, I'm too antisocial for that.
Oh yeah.
Most of the time, if I work on something where I'm working with people, it's because I'm paid to be part of that team and paid to work with people. If I'm not paid to work with people, I probably don't want to.
My personal thing was about like, I didn't want, for me to create something that was more interesting. I wanted other people's outlook on it. That way it would keep me kind of interested.
That's fair.
Yeah, even though if somebody had wrote something alone, I'd still be like, oh yeah, that's cool. I want to watch that. But to me, for my stuff, I would, be like, I want it to be interesting. I want other people's thoughts in this. I want it to be a collaboration of different human experiences.
A lot of your stuff, if not most of it, is comedic, isn't it?
The Skeletor stuff is very comedic, yes.
Yeah.
But the show that we're talking about, it's kind of like a dramedy. It can be comedic a lot. It can also be very dramatic if we need it to. How we're writing.
Yeah,
stuff
I can see things that have, a lot of humor baked into them.
Yeah.
When there's humor, getting those responses from people, I think, is probably way more valuable, because you got to know if your jokes are going to land at all. But most of the stuff, there's so many things that are just funny as hell and you laugh your ass off. That's not most of my stuff. Most of my stuff is the opposite of that. It's like dark.
He's tragedy, you're comedy.
Yeah, most everything I do is
I was about to say I go both ways, but that would have been seen wrong. So
it is dark, and it runs. The emotional content of most of what I make runs pretty much between sad, terrifying, and pissed off.
Yeah, you heard of mad, glad, sad, or afraid. You're glad. Les is mad, sad, and afraid.
Damn.
Yeah, very much aware of my deep-seated anger issues.
Yes. But could you imagine? I did this in a game. I don't know why I did this, but to escape the fairy realm, to get back to the normal plane of existence, this one guy, the maestro, had a giant hall of butts that everybody had to go through. So you will go through the hall of butts. Yeah. And then as they're walking through, they're hearing all these noises, except everything smelled like flowers and perfume. Then finally, the last part was a sphincter thing that opened up. Beep, boom, beep, boom.
Nice.
And they had to jump through it, but if the thing closed on them, they'd lose half their hit points and smell royally bad, like an outhouse.
Yeah.
It was just
I am also doing because I don't like doing. I'm really averse to doing like horror and drama and stuff like that, unless it calls for that in the storyline, because of my life has always been what you would call a nightmare horror movie, in terms of like the medical stuff I'm going through. But so I try to do shows and stuff like that are more positive, more feeling good. I think at the end of a lot of Kickback Heroes stuff, it will be positive and good. I'm also working on a show that we're just right now we're just codenaming it Nostalgia Trip, and it's just basically us just going and finding old tech, old games, talking about it, like about when we were kids and stuff like that, to different stores. I've already had like 5 or 6 different toy and collector places here in the area say they want me to film there because of the Skeletor stuff. They knew who I was. So I was just like, I would love to, because it doesn't matter where I go as an actor. That's still what I am. I'm very much a nerd, a geek for toys and collectibles. And so I will always be part of that world, especially games, and so I wanted to do something where people would enjoy it, could relax, It's kind of like my version of a show that is lo-fi, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And I have that going on. That I'm going to be doing some, just random blogs and stuff like, vlogs and stuff that I just never have done before, but I really want to do, like tech stuff and all that kind of things. But I like to spread as much of feel good and positivity as I can, because if I'm here, I feel like that would be the best use of my time.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, dark, morose motherfuckers like me need people like you around. So that's cool.
And
evened out.
And for a guy like me, I'm able to work with both of you because I would enjoy horror and relate to the heroes who went through the horrible stuff. Because a lot of people I want to be the monster that causes all the inflicted pain because I suffered all the pain. And then my thought was, no, I'd rather be the guys who rise up and can defeat the horror. But then I would like comedy because with comedy, you can also control the situation. So. Yeah.
There actually is one thing I'm working on right now that Isaac, you were actually there when the idea for this came together. I'm not going to say anything about it beyond that, but there is a thing that I'm working on that's a one-shot comic that is a horror comedy. Because I love stuff like The Evil Dead. I mean, there's
that stuff to me is funny in all
Yeah.
respects because it's taking the traditional horror and saying, what if we try to make people laugh during this? And that's funny as it is. And also it's kind of dark. And I'm a millennial, so, that would be a thing. Okay, then.
Well, guys, we've gone over time. Pops, roll it.
All right. We're out of here, folks. See y'all next time.
Thank you, Isaac.
You're welcome.
When the whole world was dragged into World War III, brave men like my father fought on the front lines. And they weren't alone. That was 20 years ago. Now it's up to us to carry on their legacy. And every so often, the earth from which we come gives way for something new. Something greater to be born, and with them, even greater threats to face. Bring it on! Phenomenova. For you, Dad. For you.
just back it already.
How do you end this thing? How do you put the where's the brakes on this bus? I forgot.
Jazz
how to drive.
hands. Jazz hands.
All right.